Welcome to Sleepless Historian. If you find yourself drawn to the events of the past, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Remember to turn on loop, allowing these gentle narratives to cradle you into a restful slumber. As you settle into a cozy position, dim the lights around you. Slow your breathing. Take a moment to adjust your pillow and blanket. Allow your body to relax, letting your shoulders drop softly. Today, we will embark on a journey through the seemingly mundane world of Roman Senate Cloak-care standards. This topic, which at first may seem tedious, invites us to explore the intricate details of daily life in ancient Rome. The toga, a garment of great significance, was worn with pride and dignity. Yet, it also demanded meticulous care. We will uncover the gentle routines of maintaining this essential attire. From the precise measurements needed for draping the fabric, to the careful techniques employed in washing and storing these garments. We will delve into the etiquette surrounding their upkeep, and the unspoken expectations of senators as they gathered to discuss matters of state. Slowly and gently, we will explore the various methods of cleansing the toga, including the use of specific soaps made from natural ingredients. Each step of the process will be revealed to you with attention to the delicate balance of water temperature and the nature of the fabrics involved. As we glide through this examination, we will note the tools that were at hand, the routines that surrounded the care of these cloaks, and how each small detail contributed to the overall presentation of a senate. Yes, Algrai, you may find comfort in the rhythmic repetition of these mundane tasks, the steady flow of tradition and routine. They create a calming backdrop against which the grand debates of the Roman Senate unfolded. So, breathe deeply, and let the tranquility of this historical exploration wash over you. Tiu Parabedoas, as we begin our gentle exploration into the care of the Roman toga, let us first consider the tools and materials that were essential in this daily ritual. Each senator, before stepping into the grand forum, would be mindful to ensure their toga was in impeccable condition. The primary tool at their disposal was a soft brush, often made from the fine hairs of animal fur. This brush was used to remove dust and dirt from the fabric, ensuring a clean and polished appearance. The senators would take their time, slowly and gently, running the brush along the surface of the toga. The soft bristles, gliding over the fabric, would create a soothing rhythm. Each stroke was deliberate, a careful act of maintenance that reflected their commitment to propriety. In addition to the brush, there were certain soaps that were favored for washing the toga. These soaps were often made from natural ingredients, such as olive oil and ashes, combined to create a gentle cleansing solution. The choice of soap was important, as the wrong type could damage the delicate fibers of the toga. The senators would take special care to mix the soap with lukewarm water, creating a solution that was neither too hot nor too cold, ensuring that the fabric remained unharmed. When the toga required a deeper clean, the senators would soak the garment in this soapy solution for a brief period. This soaking might take no longer than 30 minutes, a short wait filled with anticipation as the fabric absorbed the cleansing properties of the mixture. After soaking, the toga would be rinsed carefully, the senators ensuring that all traces of soap were removed. They would use cool, fresh water, allowing the fabric to glide effortlessly under the gentle stream. Once rinsed, the toga would be laid flat on a clean surface, a soft cloth serving as a barrier to protect it from any lingering dirt. The senators would then gently press the toga with their hands, removing excess water without wringing or twisting, which could damage the fibers. This process was both calming and methodical, a moment of quiet before the garment was properly dried. And the drying of the toga was equally significant. It was typically hung on a wooden frame, allowing air to circulate freely around the fabric. This frame was often positioned in a shaded area, away from direct sunlight, which could cause fading. Slowly and gently, the toga would dry, the senators checking periodically to ensure it retained its shape and color. As the toga dried, the senators would often engage in light conversation or reflect on the pressing matters awaiting their attention. This time of care for their garment was more than just a routine. It was a moment of mindfulness, a chance to prepare both physically and mentally for the discussions to come. Once the toga was fully dried, it was folded with great care. The senators would lay the toga flat and fold it into neat sections, ensuring that no creases would mar its pristine appearance. Each fold was a deliberate act, carefully measured to maintain the toga's graceful drape. The folded toga would then be stored in a specially designated space, often a wooden chest lined with soft fabric to prevent any potential damage. Inside this chest, the toga would rest, awaiting its next use. The senators would ensure that the chest was kept in a cool, dry place, far from any sources of moisture or heat. They understood that proper storage was just as essential as cleaning, and this mindfulness extended to all aspects of their attire. Now, let us consider the etiquette surrounding the wearing and care of the toga. A senator was expected to maintain a certain standard of appearance, reflecting both their personal dignity and the dignity of the Senate itself. This expectation extended to the condition of their toga, which was seen as a symbol of their authority and responsibility. Before entering the Senate, each senator would take a moment to inspect their toga, ensuring that it was free of any blemishes or imperfections. This ritual of inspection was often conducted in front of a mirror, allowing them to appreciate the drape and flow of the fabric. They would stand tall, adjusting the folds and ensuring that the toga hung gracefully from their shoulders. Now, in the days leading up to important debates, senators would often take extra care with their togas. They might spend additional time cleaning and inspecting the fabric, ensuring that it met the high standards expected of their position. This preparation might be accompanied by a light meal, perhaps some bread and olives, providing sustenance for both body and mind as they readied themselves for the discussions ahead. The cost of maintaining such a garment was not insignificant. Senators would be aware of the value of their toga, often investing in high-quality materials. A well-made toga could cost several denarii, the currency of the time, and its upkeep was viewed as a necessary expense. As the senators participated in their debates, their togas served as a silent witness to the ebb and flow of conversation. The fabric, meticulously cared for, would billow gently as they moved, a soft reminder of the importance of their roles. The act of draping the toga was also significant. It was not merely clothing, but a symbol of their commitment to civic duty and the ideals of the Republic. In the Senate, time moved slowly. As senators engaged in measured discourse, they would often pause, allowing thoughts to settle and ideas to take shape. This deliberate pacing mirrored the care with which they tended to their togas, echoing the rhythms of their daily lives. The presence of attendants also played a role in toga care. These individuals would assist with the washing and storage of garments, ensuring that each senator had their toga ready for use. The attendants were well trained, aware of the specific requirements for each type of fabric, and adept at managing the delicate routines involved. As we reflect on this gentle examination, we find a sense of peace in the repetitive nature of these tasks. Washing, drying, folding, and storing of the toga were not merely chores. They were rituals that grounded the senators in their responsibilities, offering a moment of calm amidst the chaos of political life. One, the attention given to the toga, a simple piece of fabric, reminds us of the importance of mindfulness in our own lives. Each act of care, each moment spent preparing, becomes an opportunity to pause and reflect. The senators, with their neatly folded togas, carried the weight of the empire on their shoulders, yet they took solace in the small, mundane routines that defined their days. So, as we continue to explore this fascinating aspect of Roman history, let us breathe deeply and settle into the soothing rhythm of these quiet moments, the care of the toga. A gentle reminder that even the most mundane tasks can hold significance. Slowly and gently, we will turn the page on this chapter, examining the intricate details that made up the lives of those who wore the toga, and how their traditions have shaped our understanding of history. As we delve deeper into the world of Roman toga care, we find ourselves surrounded by the gentle hum of daily routines. The toga, a staple of Roman attire, was not merely worn. It was cherished and maintained with meticulous care. The process of keeping a toga clean and presentable involved several specific tools, materials, and steps, all of which contributed to the overall dignity of the wearer. To begin this process, let us first consider the tools employed in toga care. The primary instrument for washing was the fullonica, a type of laundry facility where garments were cleaned. In the fullonica, one would find large vats filled with water. These vats often measured around 3 to 4 feet in depth, allowing for ample space to immerse the togas. The water was heated, often using a method of fire beneath the vats, ensuring that the fabric would be thoroughly cleaned. The cleaning agents used in this process were quite interesting. The Romans employed a mixture of water and a type of alkaline solution, often derived from plant ash or even urine, which was collected and fermented for its cleaning properties. The use of this natural detergent was a common practice, and it was not uncommon for a senator to pay a few denarii for a thorough cleaning of their toga, ensuring it remained bright and white. Once the toga was soaked in the soapy solution, the next step involved a gentle scrubbing. This was done with a wooden tool known as a dolium, which had a rounded end designed for this purpose. The scrubbing was careful, for the toga was a delicate garment. The senators would often oversee this process, ensuring that the fabric was treated with the utmost respect. After scrubbing, the toga would be rinsed in clean water, sometimes multiple times, to remove all traces of the cleaning solution. This rinsing process was vital, as any remaining detergent could cause irritation when worn. The rinsed togas were then placed in a large basket, allowing excess water to drain away. As the togas drained, the drying process began. Senators preferred to dry their togas in the gentle warmth of the sun. They would lay the garments flat on clean, smooth stones, or hang them up on specially designed frames. These frames were often made of wood and could be adjusted to catch the optimal sunlight. Drying a toga in this manner could take several hours, depending on the weather. The senators understood the importance of this step. A well-dried toga maintained its shape and structure, which was essential for its elegant draping. While the togas dried, storage played an equally significant role. Once fully dried, the togas were carefully folded to avoid creases. This folding was an art in itself, requiring patience and a gentle touch. The senators often used soft linen cloths to wrap their folded togas, preventing dust from settling and keeping them fresh until needed. These linen wrappings were also often stored in wooden chests, which were sometimes lined with fragrant herbs to repel moths and insects. The chests would be placed in cool, dark areas, ensuring the longevity of the fabric. Malawasa. Ow. In the life of a Roman senator, the schedule for toga care was quite regular. Generally, a senator would plan for their toga to be cleaned at least once a week, particularly before important gatherings or public appearances. This routine allowed them to present themselves in the best light, as a clean toga was a reflection of their status and dignity. On the day of a significant debate or public appearance, a senator would rise early in the morning. They would begin by selecting their toga, often choosing one of the finest quality available to them. The fabric was typically made of wool, which was both warm and breathable. The senators would then take extra care in putting on their toga, draping it over their shoulders in a manner that showcased their rank. The toga was wrapped around the body in a specific way, with the folds carefully arranged to avoid any awkwardness or discomfort. As they prepared for the day, there were also certain etiquette standards that guided their appearance. A senator was expected to wear their toga in a way that signified their role. The color and condition of their toga communicated their standing within the Senate. A pristine white toga was often worn for formal occasions, while a slightly worn or darker toga might indicate a senator who was more engaged in the daily affairs and responsibilities of governance. Throughout the day, the senators had a ritual of checking their togas, smoothing any wrinkles that had formed during movement. They would often carry a small cloth with them, a remnant of their toga care routine, to address minor issues as they arose. This attention to detail was vital, as it ensured they maintained a dignified appearance. The social interactions between senators also revolved around their togas. Compliments about the quality or cleanliness of a toga would flow easily during discussions. A well-cared-for toga often served as an unspoken acknowledgement of a senator's dedication to their role. This constant awareness of their clothing extended beyond mere appearance. It became a symbol of their commitment to the Roman state. Even the pricing of toga care was a shared topic among senators. They would exchange stories about the various philonicae, discussing the quality of service and the fees charged. A typical cost for a thorough cleaning might range from 3 to 5 denarii, a small price for the assurance of a well-presented appearance. This exchange of information fostered camaraderie among the senators as they navigated their responsibilities together. As we ponder the details of toga care, we find ourselves enveloped in a world where every action, every fold, and every measurement held significance. The senators, in their efforts to maintain their togas, engaged in a delicate dance of appearances and responsibilities. The simple act of caring for their attire became a foundation for their identity and a reflection of their dedication to the empire. Slowly and gently, we immerse ourselves in the rhythm of these rituals, allowing ourselves to relax further into the soothing details of Roman life. The care of the toga, a mundane task, resonates with the quiet hum of history, reminding us that every moment, no matter how trivial, can impart meaning and purpose. As we move forward in our exploration of this unique aspect of Roman culture, let us remember the senators who took pride in their togas. With each gentle fold, each careful wash, they wove their identities into the fabric of history, one toga at a time. As we delve deeper into the realm of toga care within the Roman Senate, we encounter an array of tools and materials that played a crucial role in maintaining the dignity of their garments. The toga, often made from fine wool, required specific handling techniques to ensure its longevity and pristine appearance. Senators would typically possess a few essential tools for this purpose, each serving its own unique function. Among these tools was the strigil, a curved metal implement used for scraping dirt and sweat from the skin. While primarily associated with bathing, it found a secondary purpose in preserving the cleanliness of the toga. After a long day of deliberation, senators would, little by little, attend to their togas, removing any debris that may have settled upon the fabric during their discussions. The gentle scraping motion of the strigil, gliding across the toga's surface, allowed them to restore the fabric's luster and elegance. Why? Following this initial cleansing, senators would turn to the washing process, which involved using a soap-like substance made from natural ingredients. Commonly, they would use a mixture of ash and oil, creating a paste that could effectively lift stains while being gentle on the delicate fibers of the wool. The senators, with their careful attention to detail, would take small amounts of this paste, applying it with soft hands, ensuring that the beloved fabric was treated with the utmost respect. The washing ritual typically took place once a week, but during particularly important sessions or public appearances, additional care was warranted. It was not uncommon for a senator to spend a full hour tending to their toga, delicately applying the paste, then rinsing it away with water drawn from local aqueducts. The soothing sound of water flowing, the gentle splashes reflecting their meticulous nature, created a serene ambience in the preparation for the day's discussions. After washing, the toga would require proper drying, a step often overlooked in the hasty lives of many. Senators would find a quiet space within their homes or offices, allowing the fabric to hang freely. Wooden frames, sometimes adorned with soft cloths, would be constructed to ensure the toga maintained its shape while drying. The importance of this drying process cannot be underestimated. It allowed the fibers to set correctly, preventing unsightly creases and ensuring a flawless drape when worn. Once fully dried, the next step involved careful folding and storage. Senators would take great care to fold their togas in precisely measured sections. Each fold was often about a foot wide, creating a tidy rectangle that could be stored with ease. To ensure their efforts were not in vain, they would place lavender or other fragrant herbs within the folds, imparting a soothing scent that was both pleasant and practical, as it helped to ward off moths and other pests. As they engaged in this routine, senators would often reflect on the significance of their attire. The toga was not just a garment. It represented their status, authority, and connection to the broader fabric of Roman society. This understanding infused the mundane task of folding and storing with a sense of purpose, reinforcing their identity with each careful movement. Now, let us pause for a moment to appreciate the meticulousness involved in this process. With each fold, they crafted their identity. With each careful wash, they ensured their legacy. The storage of the toga was equally ritualistic. Senators would typically use cedar chests, renowned for their ability to repel insects, ensuring the preservation of their garments. These chests, often intricately carved with motifs of laurel leaves or other symbols of victory and honor, created an inviting home for the togas. Senators would gently place their togas within, ensuring that the fabric lay flat and unbent, with the fragrant herbs nestled carefully alongside. The act of securing the chest, closing it with a soft click, was a moment of satisfaction. They took solace in knowing that their togas were safe, ready to be adorned for the next gathering of the Senate. The process of storing these garments, repeated week after week, established a comforting rhythm that echoed the cyclical nature of their duties. And so, as they prepared for the next day, senators would often find themselves contemplating their schedule. The gatherings were typically held early in the morning, as the sun began to rise, casting a golden hue over the Roman Forum. They would rise early, around dawn, allowing ample time for their toga preparations, ensuring that every detail was accounted for. In the stillness of the morning, they would dress with care, draping the toga over their shoulders in a precise manner. The toga's folds, carefully arranged, required practice to achieve the desired effect, a look of effortless elegance, even as they engaged in serious deliberation. Well, and how? With this preparation complete, senators would often set off to the Senate House, a journey marked by quiet reflection. The streets of Rome, bustling yet serene in the early hours, offered a tranquil backdrop to their thoughts. The gentle rustle of their togas accompanied their steps, a reminder of the care taken to maintain their appearance, a subtle affirmation of their roles within the empire. It is in these small, often overlooked moments that we find the essence of Roman life. The attention to detail and toga care, the adherence to schedules, and the reverence for their garments all speak to a culture deeply invested in appearances and responsibilities. And yet, as we observe these rituals, we cannot help but feel a sense of calm wash over us, a reminder of the beauty found in the mundane. Ereshimo. As the senators walked through the streets, their togas fluttered softly in the breeze, a testament to their identity, a symbol of their commitment to the empire. They moved through the city, surrounded by the familiar sights and sounds, each step a reminder of the delicate balance between duty and personal care. In the quiet moments of their daily routines, we find a reflection of ourselves, a reminder that even the most ordinary tasks can be filled with meaning and purpose. The care of the toga, a simple yet profound ritual, invites us to ponder our own lives, our own routines, and the ways in which we too find significance in the everyday. Andimat, Eshisini. As we breathe deeply, allowing ourselves to relax further into this rhythmic narrative, let us honor the senators of ancient Rome, who, little by little, cared for their togas with unwavering dedication. Each fold, each wash, each moment spent in preparation served to reinforce their identities, connecting them not only to their garments, but also to the legacy of an empire that valued both appearance and responsibility. Slowly and gently, we drift through the layers of time, enveloped in the serene echoes of their lives, the quiet routines that shaped a civilization, one toga at a time. As the senators prepared for their day, they began with the careful selection of their togas. The toga, a simple yet elegant garment, was often made from wool. This wool was sourced from various regions, each offering its own unique texture and color. Senators would choose between shades of white, cream, or even light gray, depending on the occasion. The cost of a quality toga could vary significantly. A well-made toga might cost the equivalent of several days' wages for a laborer, while a more modest garment could be found for a fraction of that price. Still, senators understood that the investment in their appearance was a reflection of their status. Once a toga was selected, it was essential to ensure it was properly stored. Senators would typically hang their togas on wooden pegs or in specially designed storage chests, lined with soft cloth to prevent wear and tear. Each toga had a designated place, and it was considered proper etiquette to return the garment to its rightful spot after each use. In the quiet of their homes, the senators would often take a moment to inspect their togas. This routine inspection involved checking for any signs of wear or dirt. They would gently run their fingers along the fabric, feeling for any irregularities. If a toga was found to be soiled, it would be set aside for cleaning, while a fresh toga was carefully draped over their shoulders. The process of washing a toga was meticulous. Many senators employed slaves or servants to assist with this task, as it required both time and skill. The cleaning would begin with a gentle shake to remove any loose dirt. Then the garment would be soaked in a mixture of water and a mild soap made from natural ingredients. This soap often contained oils, which would help preserve the fabric, while the water needed to be lukewarm, neither too hot nor too cold. As the toga soaked, the attendant would use a soft brush, carefully working the soap into the fabric. This process required a delicate touch, as the fibers of the wool were easily damaged. The brushing would take several minutes, each stroke intentional and precise. After washing, the toga would be thoroughly rinsed in clean water, ensuring no soap residue remained. After the washing was complete, the toga was laid flat on a clean surface to dry. Senators understood the importance of air drying. Placing the garment in direct sunlight could cause fading or shrinkage. Instead, they would find a shaded area where the toga could dry gently. This drying process would often take several hours. Once dry, the toga required further attention. The senators would often steam the fabric to remove any wrinkles. This could be done using a simple pot of boiling water, where the steam would rise and gently soften the fibers. The senator would hold the toga at a safe distance from the steam, ensuring the heat was just enough to relax the fabric without causing damage. Next came the folding. Folding a toga was an art in itself. Senators would take time to fold the garment in a manner that preserved its shape and ensured it hung correctly when worn. This process could take several minutes of careful manipulation, as each fold needed to be sharp and precise. The finished toga would be neatly arranged, ready for the next day's duties. In the days leading up to important meetings or public appearances, the attention to detail grew even more pronounced. Senators would often engage in discussions about the proper way to wear their togas, as the draping style could convey different meanings. The folds were not merely aesthetic. Each crease held significance, signifying authority or humility, depending on how the toga was worn. When attending the Senate, the senators would arrive early, allowing time to adjust their togas before the session began. They would stand before a mirror, examining their reflection, ensuring that every fold fell perfectly into place. This preparation was a ritual, a time to center themselves before the discussions that would shape the future of the empire. During these moments of reflection, one could see the influence of their toga, the way it swung gently as they moved, the way it caught the light. Each senator understood the importance of their appearance, knowing that a well-kept toga projected not just authority, but also respect for the institution they represented. It was common practice for senators to share tips on toga care during their daily interactions. Conversations about cleaning methods, preferred fabrics, and folding techniques were frequent. These exchanges formed bonds between them, a shared understanding of the meticulous art of toga care. As the day progressed and the sessions unfolded, the senators would occasionally find themselves adjusting their togas. A gentle tug here, a subtle readjustment there, ensure that the garment remained perfect throughout the debates and discussions. The sight of a senator standing tall, their toga flowing gracefully, was a testament to their dedication to both their duties and their appearance. After a long day of deliberation, the senators would return home, their togas slightly rumpled but still dignified. The garments would be carefully hung once more, the routine of care beginning anew. They understood the significance of this cycle, the relationship between their togas and their identities. Each time they donned the garment, they not only embraced a piece of fabric, but also the legacy they carried with them. In the quiet of their chambers, as evening settled in, they would reflect on the day's discussions. The comfort of their surroundings, the soft light of candles flickering, created a serene atmosphere. They might take a moment to unwind, perhaps sipping a warm drink as they prepared for the next day. In these gentle moments, we are reminded of the importance of care, not just for our garments, but for our lives. The senators of ancient Rome, through their dedication to the mundane task of toga care, teach us about the value of routine and the significance of identity. As we breathe deeply and allow ourselves to settle further into this narrative, let us take a moment to appreciate the simplicity and beauty of it all. Slowly and gently, we drift through their world, where the care of the toga was not merely an obligation, but a reflection of their commitment to the empire, to their roles, and to each other. Each fold, each wrinkle, each moment spent in preparation, echoed the quiet dignity of their lives, a harmony between duty and the art of self-presentation. Now, evening. As the senators prepared their togas, they utilized a simple yet effective toolkit. The tools of toga care were few, yet essential. A soft brush, made from the fine hairs of a goat, was a favored instrument. It gently lifted dust and debris, preserving the fabric's luster. The brush's bristles were arranged in a gentle curve, allowing them to conform to the toga's folds. To maintain freshness, they often relied on a simple mixture of water and white vinegar. This humble solution was poured into a small basin, where it awaited its turn to interact with the fabric. The ratio was crucial: 1 part vinegar to 4 parts water, ensuring a delicate balance. This mixture not only cleaned, but also softened the fibers. Each senator would take careful measurements, perhaps using a small cup, perhaps a simple amphora. The senators approached their togas with a methodical calm. First, they would remove the toga from its designated storage. Many preferred to keep their togas in large wooden chests, lined with linen. These chests provided protection from the elements, ensuring that moths and dust were kept at bay. The act of opening the chest would be deliberate and slow, creating a moment of anticipation. Once the toga was retrieved, folding it with care was paramount. A senator would lay the garment flat on a large table. The table, typically made of sturdy wood, might be adorned with a simple woolen cloth to avoid snagging the delicate fabric. Each senator understood that the way a toga was folded would influence its presentation. Slowly, they would bring one side over the other, ensuring that the folds were crisp and aligned. The toga's fabric, usually made of fine wool or linen, required gentle handling. The senators were mindful of the toga's weight, which could vary between 2 to 4 pounds, depending on the quality and length. After folding, the toga would rest quietly, awaiting the next step. This resting period was not merely a pause, but a moment of reflection. Senators would often take this time to plan their speeches or rehearse their arguments. As they contemplated their roles in the grand chambers, their togas remained a silent companion, reflecting their status and dignity. When the time came to clean, the senators would return to the basin filled with the diluted vinegar. They would dip a soft cloth, perhaps made of finer linen, into the solution. The cloth would be wrung gently, so as not to oversaturate the toga. With a soft touch, they would begin to wipe the fabric. Starting from the hem, they would work their way up, ensuring each fold was attended to. The senators took care to avoid excess moisture, mindful that a soggy toga could lead to damage. The process could take anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on the toga's condition. As they cared for their togas, senators engaged in the etiquette of toga maintenance. It was considered polite to offer assistance to one another, sharing tips and techniques. This camaraderie was essential, fostering a sense of community among them. A senator might mention a new technique for removing stains, or perhaps share a story about a particularly resilient fabric. After the cleaning, a careful inspection was necessary. Each senator would examine the toga for any signs of wear or damage. They understood the importance of addressing issues promptly. A small tear, if left unattended, could become a larger problem. If repairs were needed, they would employ a needle and thread, often choosing a color that matched the toga closely. The thread, made from linen, was chosen for its strength and durability. With steady hands, a senator would sew small stitches, ensuring the repair would not be noticeable. The act of repairing became a moment of quiet meditation, a focus on the task at hand. Once repaired, the toga would need to be pressed. This was typically done using a flat iron, heated gently over a fire. The senators would ensure the iron was not too hot, as scorching the fabric would ruin its texture. With careful movements, they would glide the iron over the fabric, smoothing out any remaining wrinkles. Throughout this process, a sense of routine developed. The senators often followed a schedule that included cleaning and pressing their togas weekly. This regularity provided a sense of order to their lives, a reminder of their commitments both to themselves and to the empire. In this way, the care of the toga became intertwined with their identities. Each senator understood that a well-maintained toga was a reflection of their dedication. They would often remark on the time spent caring for their garments, viewing it not as a chore, but as part of their duties. The cost of maintaining a toga could vary. A fine toga might cost as much as 100 denarii, while the care and maintenance involved could add up over time. Senators were aware of these expenses, and many took pride in their ability to care for their garments without incurring excessive costs. The meticulous attention to detail was a badge of honor among them. As they prepared for an important session, there would be a ritual of final checks. The toga would be draped over their arm, allowing it to breathe before being worn. Senators would take a moment to appreciate the fabric, to feel its weight against their skin. Before donning the toga, they would often take a deep breath, an acknowledgement of the importance of the occasion ahead. This simple act of breathing became a shared practice, a way to center themselves. With relaxed shoulders, they would allow the toga to flow gracefully around them. In these moments of preparation, the senators found a calm focus. The togas, once merely pieces of fabric, transformed into symbols of their purpose and dedication. Each fold and each wrinkle Each minute spent in care and preparation resonated with the history they represented. And so, little by little, the senators would step into their roles, cloaked in the weight of tradition, ready to engage in the discussions that would shape the empire. Each toga was not merely an article of clothing, but a vessel of their identity, reflecting the quiet, persistent dignity of their lives. As we settle deeper into this narrative, let us embrace the soothing rhythm of their routines. The care of the toga, simple yet profound, serves as a gentle reminder of the significance found in the everyday. So, as we breathe in this history of Roman Senate Cloak-care standards, let us allow the calm of their world to envelop us. Slowly and gently, guiding us toward a peaceful state of mind. Men, shan, adi, as, I. As the senators prepared for their day, the early morning light filtered gently through the windows of the curia. The air was cool, and the soft rustle of fabric provided a soothing background to their quiet routines. Each senator had a specific time for their preparation, a time honed by tradition and necessity. The first step in caring for the toga was to examine it closely. Senators would take a moment to unfurl the folded fabric, spreading it out on a clean, flat surface. The fabric, typically made of fine wool, was often dyed a deep white or cream, colors that represented purity and dignity. This examination was not rushed. Senators would take their time, inspecting the toga for any signs of wear or dirt. They would run their fingers along the smooth fibers, feeling for any irregularities. If there were creases or stains, the senator would know that attention was needed. To remove any dirt, they would utilize a simple yet effective method. A soft cloth, dipped in a mixture of water and natural soap, became a tool of care. The soap, derived from olive oil, was gentle yet effective. The senator would take the cloth and lightly dab at the stained areas, carefully avoiding excessive rubbing, which could damage the fabric. The senators understood the importance of the toga. It was not merely clothing. It was a representation of their office, their status, and their identity. Thus, the act of cleaning was more than a chore. It was a ritual, performed with attention to detail. Once any stains had been treated, the toga was rinsed with cool water. This rinse was performed delicately, ensuring that no soap residue remained. The senator would gently squeeze the toga to remove excess water, careful not to wring it out, for that could distort its shape. With the toga clean, the next step was to focus on the folds and draping. The toga, with its generous length of fabric, required careful attention to achieve the precise drape that was considered appropriate for senators. Each toga was typically around 6 meters long, and the senators had developed a keen understanding of how to manipulate the fabric to create a dignified appearance. They would begin by laying the toga across their left arm, allowing it to cascade down. The senators would take the right end and fold it over their shoulder, ensuring that the fabric fell gracefully. This method of draping was not merely aesthetic. It served a purpose in highlighting their status and role within the Senate. The fitting of the toga was a delicate dance, a blend of artistry and tradition. Senators would often practice their draping in front of a mirror, adjusting the fabric, ensuring that each fold was perfect. The folds needed to be deep and smooth, creating a sense of gravitas that matched the weight of their responsibilities. And so, little by little, they would perfect the arrangement. The toga was not just thrown on, it was placed with intention. Each senator knew that how they wore their toga could influence the perception of their words and ideas. In the realm of the Senate, Etiquette dictated that a senator should never appear disheveled. The care of the toga was a reflection of their commitment to their duties. If a senator arrived with a wrinkled toga, it would signal a lack of respect, not only for the institution but for their fellow senators. Thus, the time spent preparing each morning was a meditative routine, a quiet moment dedicated to order and clarity. After ensuring the toga was properly draped, the senators would often take a moment to adjust any straps of their undergarments, known as a subbucula, which were worn beneath the toga. The subbucula was typically a simple garment, often made of linen. It provided comfort and structure, allowing the toga to hang properly. Senators would ensure that the subbucula was snug, but not too tight, allowing for easy movement as they would soon be engaged in lively discussions. With the toga and subbucula in place, the senators would often step outside for a brief moment of reflection. The sun would cast a golden light upon them, and they would take a deep breath, inhaling the fresh air. This moment of tranquility served as a reminder of their purpose. Slowly and gently, they would feel the weight of their toga settle on their shoulders, grounding them in their roles. The toga, once again, was a symbol of their commitment to the duties that lay ahead. As they made their way to the Senate chamber, many senators would carry a small pouch. This pouch, often made of leather, was a place to store various items, including a small comb and a tiny piece of cloth for quick touch-ups. Maintaining the toga's pristine condition was an ongoing task. Along the way, senators would occasionally stop to check their reflection in the polished surfaces of buildings. They understood the importance of presenting themselves well, not just for their own dignity, but for the respect of their peers. The pouch was also a place for personal items, perhaps a small wax tablet for notes. Senators were often seen scribbling their thoughts while on the way to discussions, ensuring they were well prepared. Once arrived at the Senate, the senators would enter the grand chamber, where the atmosphere was thick with history and anticipation. They would find their designated seats, carefully prepared and arranged with the utmost respect for tradition. Seating was organized by rank, ensuring that the most senior of senators occupied the most prominent positions. This arrangement was not merely for show. It reflected the hierarchy and the respect that was woven into the very fabric of Roman political life. As they settled into their seats, the senators would smooth their togas once more, ensuring that every fold was perfect, every wrinkle was addressed. The act of adjusting the toga became a silent affirmation of their readiness to engage in the matters of state. With the chamber now filled with senators, there was a collective sense of purpose. The quiet rustle of fabric echoed as each senator prepared to voice their opinions, and the subtle movement of togas created a rhythmic backdrop to the proceedings. In this serene environment, the senators would engage in debate, but it was always underlined by the careful attention they paid to their attire. The toga, a simple piece of clothing, became a powerful emblem of their dedication to public service, and each senator understood the weight of their responsibilities. And so, as we drift through the history of Roman Senate Cloak-care standards, we find comfort in the details. The rituals, the preparations, and the quiet dignity of the toga all serve to remind us of the significance found in the ordinary. Slowly and gently, we let the calm of their world envelop us, guiding us toward a peaceful state of mind. Momo. As the senators settled into their roles, the care of their togas was a task not merely left to chance. Each morning, long before the sun illuminated the marble columns of the Senate, they would begin their preparations. The process of toga care was a ritual, one that required specific tools and a gentle touch. A soft brush, made from fine animal hair, would be used to remove any dust that had accumulated overnight. Each stroke was deliberate, sweeping away the remnants of the day before. Slowly and gently, the brush would glide across the fabric, ensuring that no particle remained to disrupt the pristine appearance of the toga. In addition to the brush, a basin of water, cool and clear, was always at the ready. Sometimes, a gentle soap made from natural oils would be added, though sparingly. The senators understood that too much soap could alter the delicate fabric, so they would dip the edge of a cloth lightly into the mixture, testing its softness against their skin. Each senator would approach this task with the utmost care, for the toga was not just clothing. It was an extension of their very selves, a symbol of their commitment to civic duty. The folds of the toga required attention as well. With each wrap and drape, the fabric would naturally gather creases. To combat this, a wooden rod, known as a trabea, was often employed. The trabea was an essential tool, crafted from fine woods, polished until smooth. Its purpose was to create sharp lines and crisp edges in the draping of the toga. The senator would gently press the fabric against the trabea, molding it into shape. This was a slow process, a dance with the fabric that took time and patience. As the senators dressed, they would often collaborate with their attendants. These attendants, skilled in the art of toga care, had an intimate understanding of how to manage the fabric's weight and flow. Together, they would discuss the day's agenda, softly debating the matters at hand, while their hands worked in tandem, smoothing and adjusting. The attendants would say, "Here, let me help with that fold, and this side needs a little more draping." Their voices would blend into the quiet ambience of the room, a gentle hum of cooperation. Once the toga was draped flawlessly, the senators would turn their attention to the finishing touches. A simple brooch, often made of bronze or silver, would be affixed to the shoulder of the toga. This brooch not only served a decorative purpose, but also helped to secure the fabric in place, preventing any wayward folds from distracting during important discussions. The brooch would be polished until it shone, reflecting the soft candlelight of the Senate chamber. Now, with their togas pristine and perfectly arranged, the senators would take a moment to breathe. This pause was an intentional act, a time to collect their thoughts and prepare for the day ahead. They would stand before a mirror, checking their appearance one last time, ensuring that every detail was right. The mirror, often a simple polished piece of bronze, reflected not only their physical form, but also their inner resolve. During this time, the senators embodied a sense of tranquility, embracing the calm before the storm of debate. The meticulous care of their togas became a meditative practice, a way to center themselves in the midst of potential discord. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting gentle light into their chambers, the senators would gather in shared anticipation. The air was alive with whispers, soft exchanges of ideas and thoughts, yet it remained serene. Each senator would find a seat, ensuring their toga fell just so, creating a cascade of fabric that flowed gracefully. In the chamber, the careful arrangement of togas created a visual harmony. The colors varied, from deep reds to soft whites. The hues complemented one another, much like the senators themselves, each bringing their unique perspective while contributing to a collective purpose. The debate would begin, But even amidst the discussions, the senators continued to mind the care of their togas. A slight tug here, a subtle adjustment there. They would often speak while gently adjusting, a rhythmic process that accompanied their words. Us, we deliberate, slowly and gently, they would say, their hands moving in tandem with their thoughts. The conversation flowed in measured tones, the senators using a calm cadence. They understood that the manner of their speech, just like the presentation of their togas, was important. Each pause was a moment to reflect, each statement carefully constructed. When the chamber session concluded, the senators would rise once more, engaging in the careful process of undoing their togas. The brooch would be removed, and the fabric would be unwrapped with the same grace that had characterized its draping. This delicate act of undressing the toga was as significant as putting it on, for it symbolized the end of their duties for the day. Nini, Ari. Once free of their garments, the senators would hand their togas to their attendants, who would take them to a dedicated area for cleaning and storage. This space, often cool and shaded, was kept meticulously organized. Each toga would be carefully laid out, hung on wooden rods or folded precisely to prevent wrinkles. Attendants would employ the same gentle techniques used in the morning, brushing and inspecting each piece. They understood the fabrics intimately, knowing when to wash and when to simply air out. The process of cleaning involved a careful wash with pure water, often gathered from a nearby spring. After washing, the togas would be stretched and laid flat upon smooth stones to dry. Each piece required ample space, allowing the fabric to breathe and maintain its shape. The attendants would keep a watchful eye, ensuring that no dust or debris settled upon the freshly laundered togas. Little by little, they would rotate the garments, allowing even drying. The routine of toga care, both before and after the Senate sessions, formed a rhythm in the lives of the senators. It was a calm cycle, providing structure and order in a world often filled with uncertainty. And as the sun set on another day of deliberation, the senators would feel a sense of satisfaction. Their togas, pristine and well cared for, reflected their commitment to duty. Slowly and gently, they would retire for the evening, knowing that they could face the next day with the same care and intention. In the early hours of the morning, as the first light began to filter through the narrow windows of their homes, the senators would awaken to the gentle sound of rustling fabric. The soft touch of freshly laundered togas hung nearby, ready to be donned for the day's deliberations. These garments, made from fine wool, required not only meticulous care, but also a structured approach to their daily maintenance. Hello. The first task for the attendants was to gather the necessary tools for toga care. They would retrieve wooden brushes, their handles polished smooth from years of use. The bristles, soft yet firm, were chosen specifically to avoid damaging the delicate fibers of the fabric. Each brush was crafted with care, ensuring that it would glide over the folds and pleats, removing any dust that had settled overnight. As the senators prepared for their day, the attendants would begin the brushing process. With gentle strokes, they would start from the top of the toga, working their way down, ensuring that every inch of fabric was attended to. The rhythm of the brushing would create a soothing sound, a soft whisper against the wool, as they took their time to ensure that no speck of dust remained. They understood that a clean toga was not merely a matter of appearance. It was a reflection of their dedication to their responsibilities. Once the brushing was complete, The attendants would turn their attention to inspecting the togas for any signs of wear or damage. They would check the seams and edges, looking for loose threads or small tears. If they found any imperfections, they would carefully stitch them up, using linen thread that matched the color of the toga. Each stitch was deliberate, ensuring both strength and subtlety. This attention to detail was vital. A senator's reputation could hinge upon the condition of his toga. The next step in the daily routine involved the storage of the togas. After the careful inspection and brushing, the garments would be folded with precision. Each toga would be laid flat, avoiding any unnecessary creases. The attendants would use smooth, flat boards to help maintain the form of the fabric, stacking them neatly in designated storage chests. These chests were often crafted from cedar wood, chosen for its natural resistance to moths and other pests. The scent of cedar would linger in the air, providing a fresh and pleasing aroma to the storage area. In the heart of the senator's home, the storage area would be kept cool and dry, creating an ideal environment for the togas. The attendants understood the importance of protecting these garments from humidity and heat, as such conditions could lead to the degradation of the wool fibers. Each chest was lined with cloth, further cushioning the togas within. As the day progressed, the senators would gather for their sessions, each one draped in their freshly prepared togas. The fabric, soft against their skin, would serve as a reminder of the care bestowed upon them. The senators would move with a sense of dignity, their attire reflecting their status and commitment to governance. The togas, while seemingly mundane, became a symbol of their responsibilities and the weight of the decisions they made. During the Senate meetings, discussions would often be lengthy, with senators exchanging ideas and debating the fate of the empire. Yet, amid these significant conversations, the senators would occasionally notice their attire. They would subtly adjust their togas, smoothing out any wrinkles that may have formed. This small act of tidiness became a ritual, a way to recenter themselves amidst the flow of words and ideas. After the meetings concluded, the senators would return to their homes, where the process of toga care would begin anew. The attendants would be waiting, ready to assist in the evening rituals of cleaning and maintaining the garments. The togas would be removed carefully, with attention paid to the way they were hung. Each toga would be draped over a wooden rod, allowing the fabric to breathe and retain its shape. Once the togas were hung, the attendants would prepare for the next round of cleaning. They would gather pure water from the nearby spring, known for its clarity and purity. The water would be heated gently, but not to boiling, ensuring that the fibers would not be damaged by extreme temperatures. The attendants would then add a small amount of natural soap derived from olive oil, creating a mild solution for washing. With great care, they would begin to wash the togas. Each garment would be submerged gently into the warm water, allowing it to soak for a brief moment. The attendants would then begin the process of hand washing, using their fingers to work the soap into the fabric. They would be mindful of the delicate fibers, treating each toga as if it were a cherished heirloom. The rhythmic motion of washing would create a calming atmosphere, echoing the serenity of the spring from which the water was drawn. After rinsing the togas thoroughly, the attendants would once again stretch and lay them flat on smooth stones. The gentle sun would help in drying the garments, and the attendants would ensure that the togas were positioned correctly, allowing even drying without creasing. They would keep a close watch, attentive to the angle of the sun and the shifting shadows, rotating the garments as necessary. As the day came to an end, and the sun dipped below the horizon, The attendants would fold the togas once more, preparing them for the next day. The careful folding, the gentle strokes, and the loving attention would create a sense of calm. The togas would be ready, waiting to accompany the senators as they navigated the complexities of governance. In Nasinasandeo, Homawa, one discerne or no world, disonane. And so the cycle continued, day after day, filled with the quiet tasks of cleaning, inspecting, and storing the togas. Each step in this serene process became a meditation on the significance of duty and appearance. Little by little, and slowly, the senators found comfort in the rituals of toga care, knowing that they were not just maintaining fabric, but also the dignity and respect that came with their roles. The next morning, as the light began to filter through the gentle arches of the Roman atrium, the attendants would rise early. They would gather their supplies in a quiet, methodical manner. A soft, woven basket would hold the tools needed for the day's task. Among these were small brushes made from goat hair, delicate and soft to the touch. These brushes were crucial for removing any dust or debris that may have settled upon the togas overnight. The attendants would also prepare bowls filled with lukewarm water, mixed with a tiny amount of natural soap made from olive oil. This soap was mild, ensuring that the fabric was respected and cared for, rather than harshly treated. The attendants would dip their brushes into the soapy water, allowing the bristles to absorb the liquid before gently sweeping them across the fabric. Each stroke would be slow, methodical, and soothing, akin to a soft lullaby echoing in the air. In the cool morning air, the attendants would take their time, inspecting each toga with careful eyes. Little by little, and gently, they would look for any signs of wear or imperfections. A small measuring stick, crafted from a smooth piece of wood, would be used to gauge the dimensions of the togas as they laid them flat. This ensured that the garments maintained their proper shape, which was vital for the senators' appearances. In a world where reputation was paramount, every detail mattered. The togas had specific dimensions. Typically, they measured about 6 feet in length. This allowed them to drape elegantly over the shoulder, creating a flowing silhouette that was both dignified and refined. The attendants would use their measuring stick to verify these lengths, ensuring that each toga remained true to its original form. Once the togas were cleaned and inspected, the attendants would prepare for the folding process. This was an art in itself. They would lay the toga down on a smooth, flat surface, making sure to eliminate any wrinkles. The fabric would be folded in half lengthwise, and then again, creating a neat rectangle. Each fold would be precise, each crease sharp and intentional. The attendants would take their time, ensuring that the garment was treated with the utmost respect. They would then roll the toga gently, starting from one end and moving to the other, creating a compact bundle. This rolling technique not only saved space, but also helped prevent unwanted creases from forming. Little by little, and slowly, the togas transformed from a billowing fabric into a neatly organized roll. Storage was another critical aspect of toga care. The attendants would place each rolled toga into a dedicated space within the cool, shaded areas of the storage room. This room was carefully designed to maintain an optimal environment for the delicate fabrics. The temperature would be kept mild, ensuring that no sunlight or humidity would reach the togas. Each toga would be stored in a designated area, identified by small wooden labels. These labels, hand-carved by the attendants themselves, would display the name of the senator who owned the toga, along with the date it was last cleaned. This system created an atmosphere of order and respect, allowing for easy retrieval on days of important meetings. The attendants would gather each morning at sunrise, following a well-established schedule that had been passed down through generations. They would begin their duties shortly after the first light of dawn, and the routine was almost meditative, bringing a sense of calm to the start of the day. Each task was performed with intention. The brushing, the cleaning, the folding. All were infused with a deep understanding of the toga's significance. As the senators prepared for their day, the attendants would be there, silently ensuring that nothing was amiss. The senators would arrive, taking great care in selecting the toga that best represented their standing and mood for the day. In doing so, they would become part of this quiet ritual as they donned the garments that had been so lovingly maintained. The process of donning a toga was itself a delicate affair. Senators would stand before a polished mirror, taking a moment to appreciate the drape of the fabric against their skin. The toga would be secured in place with a simple brooch, often made of bronze or silver, designed to keep the garment from slipping. Each senator had their preferred style, some opting for a loose drape, while others preferred a more fitted appearance. Attention to detail was key. The attendants would often remind the senators of the importance of posture while wearing their togas. Standing tall, shoulders back, and head held high was essential for projecting the dignity expected of a Roman statesman. Little by little, and slowly, these reminders became second nature, instilling confidence in the senators as they prepared to engage in discussions that shaped the As the day unfolded, the senators would gather in the Senate chamber, surrounded by their colleagues, each adorned in their carefully maintained togas. The atmosphere would be filled with a sense of purpose, yet there lingered an undercurrent of calm, a quiet reminder of the rituals that preceded their discussions. The gentle rustling of togas could be heard as they shifted in their seats, a soft, rhythmic sound that blended seamlessly with the flow of conversation. After the day's deliberations, the senators would return to their homes, and the attendants would once again take charge of the togas. The garments would be carefully removed and laid down, ready for the next round of cleansing and care. The cycle was soothing, little by little, and slowly. The togas, with all their history and significance, would continue to be cherished and preserved. And so, the quiet world of toga care persisted, a delightful and mundane routine that ensured that the dignity of the Roman Senate remained intact. The simplicity of the tasks belied their importance. They were not merely garments. They were symbols of power, authority, and respect. As the attendants reflected on their work, they too found solace in the knowledge that they were preserving a tradition that had endured for centuries. In the end, the care of the togas became a soothing lullaby of its own, a gentle reminder of the beauty found in the mundane and the significance of even the smallest tasks. As the senators returned home, their togas were treated with a meticulous care that mirrored the formality of their work. Each toga was not merely a piece of fabric. It was a carefully crafted garment, often made of fine wool and imbued with the weight of tradition. The attendants, trained in the art of toga care, approached their duties with calm precision. First, The attendants would assess the condition of each toga. They would examine the fabric, looking for signs of wear, areas that might need mending or extra attention. The examination was gentle and methodical, ensuring that no small detail went unnoticed. The attendants would run their fingers along the edges, feeling the texture, gauging its cleanliness, and determining the amount of care required. Leonter. Once the assessment was complete, the togas were carefully laid flat on a wooden table or upon soft linen cloths to avoid any potential damage. The attendants would then gather their tools, an assortment of items specifically chosen for the art of toga maintenance. They utilized wooden brushes with soft bristles, buckets of lukewarm water, and a delicate soap made from olive oil and natural herbs. The scent of the soap was mild and soothing, a gentle aroma that filled the air. With the water in a bucket, the attendants would dip the brushes lightly, ensuring they were just damp enough to cleanse without being soaked. They would begin at the hem, the part of the toga that often collected dust and dirt over the course of the day. Slowly and gently, they would brush the fabric in sweeping motions, allowing the water to penetrate the fibers while lifting away the grime. The rhythm of the brushing was almost hypnotic, a soft swish that echoed the lull of a gentle breeze. After the brushing, the togas would be rinsed in clean water to remove the soapy residue. The attendants would carefully lower each toga into the bucket, ensuring that the fabric remained submerged only briefly, just long enough to rinse away the soap. The process required patience. They would lift the toga out and hold it up, allowing the excess water to drip away naturally. Next came the drying process. The attendants would lay the togas on flat surfaces, preferably in a shaded area, to prevent the sun from fading the colors. Each toga would be spread out, ensuring there was ample space between each garment for air to circulate. The gentle rustle of fabric against fabric was a reminder of the care being taken in this soothing process. While the togas dried, the attendants would prepare for the next step. They would gather a set of simple tools, finely woven cloths and needles, with thread that matched the toga's color. Every detail was accounted for. If the examination had revealed any small tears or frays, now was the time to mend them. With a steady hand, the attendants would thread the needle, ensuring that the knot was secure. They would approach each repair with the same diligence as before, taking their time to weave in and out of the fabric, little by little, and slowly and gently, reinforcing the toga. The movements were rhythmic, almost meditative, as they worked to restore the garment to its former glory. Should a toga require pressing, the attendants would prepare a smooth surface, using a stone slab or a wooden board. They would place a damp cloth over the toga and apply a warm iron, which could be made of metal heated over a fire. In this way, every wrinkle would be eased away. The steam rising from the fabric would carry a faint, comforting scent of wool. The pressing was an art form in itself, requiring both skill and care. Each stroke of the iron was deliberate, smoothing out the fabric in a gentle, fluid motion. The attendants understood that this was not merely about aesthetics, but about restoring dignity, ensuring that each toga would fall elegantly around its wearer. The rhythmic sound of the iron gliding over the fabric created a soothing atmosphere, a lullaby of labor echoing throughout the room. After the pressing was complete, the attendants would fold the togas with precision. They would begin by laying the toga flat once more, smoothing it out to remove any remaining creases. Then they would fold it into thirds, ensuring that the fabric was arranged neatly. Each fold was deliberate, creating a tidy rectangle that could easily be stored or transported. Storage was another important aspect of toga care. The folded togas would be placed in wooden chests lined with soft linen to protect them from dust and pests. The chests would be organized in a cool, dry location, away from direct sunlight, preserving the colors and integrity of the fabric. Each toga was carefully labeled, noting its owner and any specific care instructions that might be necessary for its maintenance. This care routine was not just a task, it was a ritual, a way to honor the garments that represented the very essence of Roman identity. The attendants often engaged in quiet conversation as they worked, sharing stories about the senators who wore these togas and the historic moments they witnessed. Their voices were low, calming, and steady, creating a serene environment conducive to focus and tranquility. Every evening, before the sun would dip below the horizon, the attendants would gather once more to review their work. It was a moment of reflection, a time to acknowledge the importance of their labor in the grand tapestry of Roman society. They understood that while the senators debated the fate of the empire, the humble care of their togas played an essential role in maintaining the dignity of those decisions. In this way, the cycle of toga care continued, day after day, season after season. Each routine, each task, was repeated with gentle diligence, ensuring the togas remained symbols of authority and respect. Little by little, and slowly, this process became part of the fabric of Roman life, echoing the gentle rhythm of history itself. The simplicity of such a routine brought a sense of peace. The attendants found comfort in the knowledge that their meticulous work contributed to the larger narrative of their civilization. As the night settled in, the togas rested in their chests, folded neatly, waiting for the moment they would once again drape upon the shoulders of senators, ready to accompany them in their important deliberations. The world of toga care was one of quiet dignity, a reminder of the significance of everyday tasks and the beauty found in the mundane. And so, the togas would await the dawn, fresh and tidy, ready to serve their purpose once more. Oh, and as the sun dipped below the horizon, the world of toga care remained undisturbed, a quiet sanctuary of order and routine. The tools utilized in this delicate process were simple yet essential. Attendants would gather a few basic items: soft, lint-free cloths, a gentle soap made from olive oil, and a large basin filled with warm water. Each item served a specific purpose, contributing to the meticulous care of the senator's garments. The cloths, finely woven and smooth to the touch, were perfect for wiping away any dust or dirt that may have accumulated on the togas. These cloths were stored in a designated drawer, lined neatly, ready to be called upon at a moment's notice. The attendants understood that even the smallest speck could disrupt the pristine appearance of the toga, so they approached their task with unwavering attention. The soap, a simple concoction, was derived from the natural goodness of olive oil. It was gentle on the fabric, ensuring that the toga's fibers remained intact, soft, and inviting to the touch. The attendants would measure out just a small amount, perhaps a tablespoon, to create a mild lather in the basin of warm water. This mixture would then transform the simple act of washing into a nurturing ritual, allowing the togas to regain their luster without harm. The washing process itself was methodical and slow. Each toga would be carefully unwrapped, its folds falling gently open, revealing the fine wool or cotton of its fabric. Attendants would then immerse the garment into the warm, soapy water, allowing it to soak for a few moments. This soaking was vital, as it permitted the fibers to relax, loosening any stubborn dirt or grime that may have settled during the day. Little by little, the togas would absorb the warmth and the soap, ready for the next step in their rejuvenation. Once the soaking was complete, the attendants would gently knead the fabric, ensuring that every inch received attention. This gentle massage was performed with care, taking care not to stretch or pull the fabric too harshly. The rhythm of their hands, soothing and steady, matched the calm atmosphere surrounding them. Each knead was deliberate, each stroke a reminder of the importance of this task. After several moments of gentle kneading, the toga would be lifted from the water and rinsed. Rinsing was done with cool, clear water, which would wash away the soap and dirt, restoring the fabric's natural color. The attendants would take care to avoid any twisting or wringing, as this could cause damage. Instead, they would delicately allow the water to drip away, as they prepared the garment for drying. The drying process was equally meticulous. Each toga would be laid flat on a clean, dry surface, preferably a soft linen cloth that would absorb any residual moisture. The attendants understood the importance of this step, for proper drying could prevent unwanted creases. They would arrange the toga with care, smoothing out any wrinkles with gentle hands, ensuring it was ready for the next day's deliberations. As the togas dried, the attendants would take this time to inspect their work environment. The storage chests, where the togas would eventually reside, were checked for cleanliness and order. These chests, often crafted from fine wood, were lined with soft fabric to protect the togas from dust. Each chest was marked clearly, indicating which togas belonged to which senator, ensuring ease of access when the time came to dress. Maintaining proper records was an essential part of this process. The attendants would keep a log, detailing the condition of each toga when it was last cleaned, and any repairs that may have been needed. This log, written in a flowing hand, captured the history of each garment, a small testament to the care provided. This careful documentation was a routine task, performed weekly, ensuring that no detail was overlooked. The cost of maintaining these garments was also a consideration. The attendants knew that senators expected their togas to be pristine, and thus, they kept track of expenses related to cleaning supplies and materials. Olive oil soap was relatively inexpensive, but the quality of the cloths and the care provided necessitated a careful budget. The attendants, with their meticulous nature, would ensure that they never exceeded their allocated funds, finding comfort in the predictability of their responsibilities. As the evening deepened, the attendants would often find themselves reflecting on the significance of their work. They understood that while the senators debated the fate of the empire, their togas were a silent but powerful symbol of authority. The care with which they maintained these garments was a reflection of the values of Roman society. Little by little, and slowly, they recognized that their efforts contributed to the larger narrative of civilization. Even with the quiet hum of the evening settling around them, the rhythm of toga care continued. Each task, from washing to drying, was imbued with purpose and intention. The attendants took pride in their work, knowing that their diligence ensured that the togas would be ready for the demands of the next day. The gentle folds of the togas, now clean and dry, awaited the touch of the senators. Each garment was a testament to the hard work and dedication that had gone into its care. Slowly and gently, the world of Roman politics intertwined with the world of fabric care, creating a tapestry of life that was both rich and textured. In the stillness of the evening, The attendants would weave their lives into the fabric of history, one toga at a time. The cycle of care would continue, a never-ending routine, echoing softly through the halls of time. The togas, in their quiet dignity, would be ready to serve once more, as the sun rose to illuminate the debates of another day, and the world of toga care remained a steadfast partner in the affairs of the Empire. As the sun cast its golden rays across the Roman landscape, the attendants began their meticulous preparations for the forthcoming gatherings of the Senate. Quietly, they gathered their tools, each one selected for its specific purpose in the delicate care of the togas. The tools, simple yet effective, included brushes made from soft goat hair, large basins crafted from earthenware, and gentle soaps derived from the humble olive. These items, though ordinary in appearance, held great significance in the daily routines of toga maintenance. The attendants would begin by inspecting each toga, looking for any signs of wear or dirt that might disrupt the elegance of the garment. With a practiced eye, they would identify the areas requiring attention, and with care, they would lay the togas flat on clean surfaces, ensuring an even distribution of weight and avoiding any creases that might mar their pristine form. Next came the washing process. The attendants would fill their basins with lukewarm water, the temperature carefully measured to avoid damage to the delicate fabric. The water would be infused with a small amount of soap, just enough to create a soft lather, one that would gently cleanse without stripping the toga of its natural luster. Slowly and gently, they would dip the togas into the soapy water, allowing them to soak for a few minutes. While they waited, the attendants would take this opportunity to discuss the day's upcoming debates, their voices low and calming, the rhythm of their conversation blending harmoniously with the sounds of water. After the togas had soaked sufficiently, the attendants would begin the gentle process of cleaning. They would take a soft brush and move it in delicate circles, focusing on the areas that required the most care. Each stroke was deliberate, each movement measured, as they worked to remove any stains or dirt that had accumulated during the previous day's activities. Once the washing process was complete, the attendants would carefully rinse each toga in clean water, ensuring that all soap was removed. This rinsing was a crucial step, for any residue left behind could cause the fabric to lose its softness over time. They would let the water run over the togas until it flowed clear, a sign that they had achieved the desired cleanliness. The togas would then be gently wrung out, taking care to avoid twisting the fabric, which could lead to unwanted creases and distortions. The drying of the togas was another important phase in this careful routine. The attendants would hang them on wooden racks, spaced apart, to allow air to circulate freely. Each toga would be draped carefully, ensuring that the fabric did not touch the ground, as the ground was considered unclean, and to do so would bring unnecessary dirt to their refined garments. The attendants would often use clothespins made of wood to secure the edges, preventing any accidental slips. As the sun began its descent, casting a warm glow across the drying garments, the attendants would periodically check on the togas. They would adjust the positioning as needed, turning them slightly to catch the evening breeze, which would help in the drying process. Each moment spent caring for the togas was imbued with a sense of tranquility, a peaceful routine that echoed through the halls of the Senate. Once the togas were thoroughly dried, the attendants would begin the folding process. Each toga would be folded with precision, taking care to maintain its shape and prevent unwanted creases. They would fold the garment in half lengthwise, aligning the edges perfectly, then folded again, this time in thirds, creating a neat package that could be stored easily. The folded togas were then placed in designated storage chests, crafted from sturdy wood, lined with soft fabric, to protect the delicate material. These chests were often kept in cool, dry areas, far from the humid air that could cause damage to the togas. The attendants would label each chest, using simple wooden tags to denote the type of toga inside, such as the toga virilis for adult male citizens or the toga praetexta, adorned with a purple border worn by magistrates. This careful organization ensured that each senator would find the appropriate garment when he arrived at the Senate, ready to engage in discussions of great import. In the days leading up to important gatherings, the attendants would work with increased diligence, preparing not just the togas but also the accompanying accessories. They would polish the leather sandals worn by the senators, ensuring that they gleamed in the light. Each pair of sandals was a reflection of the senator's status, and thus required the same level of care as the togas themselves. The attendants would use a soft cloth and a mixture of oils to restore the leather's natural shine. As the hours passed and the senator's meetings approached, the attendants would engage in an unspoken dance, moving between tasks with a rhythmic grace. They would check the alignment of the togas, ensuring that each garment was perfectly presented, ready to accompany the senators as they debated matters of state. The gentle murmurs of their voices would fill the air, punctuated by the soft sounds of folding and arranging. Throughout this time, the attendants also maintained a strict schedule. They understood the importance of time in the world of Roman politics. Each task was carefully timed, ensuring that the togas would be ready with ample time before the senators arrived. The attendants would often refer to sundials to keep track of the hours, attuned to the movement of the sun as it traced its path across the sky. Their routine was a calming rhythm, one that provided a comforting predictability in the often tumultuous world of political debate. Each day, little by little, the cycle continued, a testament to the importance of maintaining both appearance and dignity in the Roman Senate. In this world where appearance was paramount, the ritual of toga care served not only to prepare the garments, but also to establish a sense of order and respect. As the attendants worked, they understood that their quiet diligence was a vital component of the larger machinery of governance. And so, they continued, day after day, weaving together the threads of fabric care and the fabric of history itself. The process of caring for the togas extended beyond mere washing and folding. It required a delicate touch, a gentle hand, and a keen eye for detail. The attendants gathered their tools, which were few, but essential. They relied on simple yet effective implements: a soft brush for dusting, a bowl of lukewarm water for rinsing, and a fine cloth for polishing. Each item was chosen with care, reflecting the meticulous nature of the work ahead. The togas themselves were made from wool, a fabric prized for its durability and warmth. Each piece was unique, often woven with the individual senator's preferences in mind, resulting in subtle variations in texture and color. Some togas were dyed in rich shades of purple or deep crimson, signaling elevated status, while others remained in humble whites or light creams, suitable for everyday discourse. The attendants understood these nuances, recognizing that color and fabric could communicate volumes without a single word spoken. As the attendants began their day, they would first inspect each toga. They would lay the garments out flat on a clean, smooth surface, ensuring that every crease and wrinkle was evenly distributed. This was not merely for aesthetics. It was a ritual performed with purpose. The attendants would take a moment to breathe deeply, inhaling the soft scent of clean wool, and then they would begin their examination. Each toga was carefully checked for stains, snags, or any signs of wear. The attendants would note any imperfections, mentally cataloging which pieces required immediate attention and which could wait. They understood that to maintain the dignity of the senators, every detail must be accounted for, and thus their inspections were thorough, methodical, and gentle. Little by little, they would focus on the specific needs of each garment. For stains, they prepared a gentle cleaning solution using a mixture of water and a small amount of soap, just enough to lift the dirt while remaining kind to the fabric. The attendants would dip their soft brushes into the solution, allowing the bristles to absorb just enough liquid. They would then work the brush into the stained areas, moving in small circular motions. This technique required both patience and precision, ensuring that the wool was not agitated, but rather coaxed back to its original state. As they worked, they often engaged in quiet conversation, discussing the day's agenda or the latest news from within the Senate. The soft murmur of their voices complemented the rhythm of their work, creating an atmosphere of calm focus. The discussions were rarely contentious, often revolving around mundane topics, such as the weather or the quality of the olives served at the last banquet. These conversations provided a soothing backdrop to the otherwise solitary task of caring for the togas. Once a toga was deemed clean, it would then be rinsed carefully in clear, lukewarm water, ensuring that all soap was removed. The attendants would take their time, allowing the fabric to soak briefly before gently pressing it to release excess water. This step was performed with tender care, as they understood that the texture of the wool could be compromised by harsh handling. After rinsing, the togas were laid out once more, this time on a flat surface where they could dry slowly. The attendants would arrange them in a manner that allowed for air circulation, ensuring that they would not develop any musty odors. They understood the importance of this drying phase, as a well-dried toga would maintain its shape and softness. While the garments dried, the attendants would turn their attention to folding the completed togas from the previous day. Each toga was folded with precision, following a specific method that had been passed down through generations. They would first lay the toga flat, smoothing out any remaining wrinkles with their hands, and then fold it in half lengthwise. Next, they would bring the two ends together, forming a neat rectangle. Once folded, the togas were placed in designated storage areas, often wooden chests lined with soft fabric to prevent any damage. These chests were labeled with the names of the senators, ensuring that each garment was returned to its rightful owner. The attendants had learned to remember the names and preferences of each senator, a skill that allowed them to work efficiently and with a sense of personal touch. As the day progressed, each task would become a gentle meditation, a repetitive motion that lulled the attendants into a rhythm. They would repeat the folding process for each toga, little by little, creating a sense of order and accomplishment. Occasionally, a senator would arrive to collect their toga, and the attendants would present it with the utmost reverence. They would bow slightly, a gesture of respect, while holding the toga carefully. The senators, in return, would often nod in appreciation, recognizing the quiet labor that had gone into preparing their garments. The attendants' attention to detail extended beyond the garments themselves. They also maintained the storage areas with care. Each chest was cleaned regularly, ensuring that dust and debris did not accumulate. The attendants understood that the environment in which the togas were stored was just as important as the care given to the togas themselves. This meticulousness reflected the broader values of Roman society: attention to detail, respect for tradition, and the importance of appearance in public life. Throughout the day, the attendants would take moments to breathe, pausing to appreciate the tranquility of their surroundings. The soft light filtering through the windows cast gentle shadows across the room, creating a serene atmosphere. Little by little, they would allow themselves to be enveloped by the calmness of their tasks, grounding themselves in the ritual of toga care. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, the attendants would begin to prepare for the end of their workday. They would take a final look at each toga, ensuring that everything was in order before the senators arrived for their evening debates. The togas, once again inspected, were stacked neatly in their respective chests, ready for the demands of the political arena. And so, the cycle would continue, a gentle rhythm of care and attention that defined the daily lives of the attendants within the Roman Senate. Their quiet diligence, their patient hands, and their routine of toga care played a vital role in the larger tapestry of Roman governance, ensuring that each senator appeared dignified and respected. Little by little, day by day, they wove the threads of history with each fold, each brush and each moment of focus, creating a serene sanctuary within the bustling heart of the empire. As the sun set behind the distant hills, casting a golden hue across the Senate chamber, the attendants began their evening routines. They gathered their tools, preparing for the delicate task of ensuring that the togas were immaculate. Each attendant had a specific role, a defined purpose in this serene dance of preparation. The first step in their evening ritual involved selecting the appropriate cleaning materials. The attendants would reach for fine brushes, crafted from soft goat hair, designed to gently sweep away any dust or debris that might have accumulated on the fabric. These brushes, with their gentle bristles, were essential for maintaining the delicate fibers of the toga. Next, the attendants would take a moment to assess the condition of each toga. They would inspect the fabric carefully, running their fingers along the folds, feeling for any imperfection or sign of wear. The togas, made from the finest wool, were expensive and held great significance. A toga cost approximately 200 denarii, a considerable sum that reflected its importance in Roman society. Once each toga had been inspected, the attendants would gather their smoothing stones. These smooth, flat stones were used to press out any creases, ensuring that the fabric lay perfectly flat. The attendants would hold the stone in their palms, feeling its cool surface, and then apply gentle pressure to the fabric, moving slowly and methodically. With each stroke of the stone, the creases would yield, little by little. The attendants would work in rhythm, breathing in deeply and releasing their breath slowly, allowing the calm atmosphere to envelop them. They would repeat this process for each toga, creating a soothing pattern of preparation that became almost meditative. After smoothing, the attendants would turn their attention to the storage chests. These chests, crafted from sturdy wood and lined with fine linen, were designed to protect the togas from dust and moths. The attendants would open each chest with care, allowing the faint scent of cedar and wool to waft into the air. Inside, the togas were arranged with great precision. Each toga was folded carefully, ensuring that the intricate draping would remain intact. The attendants would take their time, practicing the ancient art of folding, which required a gentle touch and an eye for detail. Little by little, they would create neat stacks, each toga a testament to their diligence and commitment. The attendants also had a specific etiquette to follow while handling the togas. They were taught to always use both hands, cradling the fabric with respect. When passing a toga to another attendant, they would do so with a graceful flourish, ensuring that the fabric did not touch the ground. This small act of reverence was vital, as each toga not only represented an article of clothing, but also the dignity of the senator who would wear it. As the evening continued, they would check the light sources in the chamber. The soft glow of oil lamps provided a warm ambience, casting flickering shadows that danced across the walls. The attendants would adjust the wicks, ensuring a steady flame, which added to the calm atmosphere. They would breathe deeply, embracing the tranquility as they prepared for the final stages of their evening routine. Once the togas were folded and stored, the attendants would take a moment to review their supplies. They would check the stocks of cleaning materials, such as the natural soap made from olive oil, which was used to wash the togas whenever necessary. This soap, with its gentle formulation, was kind to the delicate fibers, and ensured that the togas remained vibrant and fresh. The attendants would also keep an eye on the brushes and smoothing stones, ensuring that they were clean and well maintained. Each tool played a crucial role in the toga care process, and the attendants understood the importance of keeping them in optimal condition. They would take a moment to clean the brushes, rinsing them gently under cool water, and then laying them out to dry in the soft light of the chamber. The entire process of toga care was a delicate ballet of attention and respect. Each action, each routine, was designed to honor the traditions of the Roman Senate. The attendants knew that their efforts contributed to the larger narrative of governance, even if in a subtle way. Little by little, they became part of the fabric of history, their hands weaving together the threads of dignity and status. As the evening drew to a close, the attendants would gather once more around the chests. They would make one final inspection, ensuring that every toga was perfectly placed, each fold aligned just so. They would stand quietly for a moment, appreciating the calm and order they had created. With the togas ready, the attendants would prepare to close the chests. They would take care to close each one gently, making sure that the togas were secure and protected for the night. This final act was a symbol of their commitment to the senators they served, ensuring that when they arrived the next day, they would find their togas immaculate and ready for the day's debates. As they finished their evening tasks, the attendants would take a moment to breathe deeply once more, letting the serenity of their work wash over them. They understood the importance of each ritual, each routine, and the calmness it brought to their lives. Little by little, they would allow themselves to feel a sense of accomplishment as they settled in for the night, knowing that they had played their part in the grand tapestry of the Roman Empire. The following morning, as the sun began to rise gently over the horizon, casting a soft light across the Roman Forum, the attendants would awaken early, preparing themselves for another day dedicated to the care of the togas. They would rise slowly from their beds, stretching their limbs to awaken their bodies, and take a moment to breathe in the cool morning air, filling their lungs with freshness. Once they were ready, they would gather the necessary materials for the day's work. They would collect small wooden brushes, each bristle precisely cut, to gently remove any dust or debris from the surfaces of the togas. Each brush would be carefully inspected for wear, as a well-maintained tool was essential for the task at hand. The attendants would also prepare a few small bowls of pure water, drawn from a nearby aqueduct, known for its clarity and coolness. This water would be used sparingly, as too much could dampen the delicate fabric of the toga, leading to unwanted wrinkles. They would take the time to measure out just the right amount, perhaps a cup or two, ensuring that nothing would be wasted. Next, they would gather the togas themselves, which were stored in the chests with great care. Each toga would be lifted out gently, avoiding any unnecessary pulling or stretching. The attendants understood that any mishandling could result in creases or imperfections that might detract from the senator's appearance. Once the togas were laid out on clean surfaces, the attendants would begin their inspection. They would examine each garment closely, noting any areas that might require additional attention. Small stains could sometimes occur, perhaps from a careless meal or the dust of the forum. For minor stains, they would prepare a gentle cleaning solution using water and a small amount of natural soap, made from olive oil and lye. The attendants would mix this solution carefully, ensuring it was not too harsh for the delicate fabric. They would dip a clean cloth into the mixture and carefully blot the stained area, working slowly and methodically, applying just enough pressure to lift the marks without damaging the fibers. After attending to any stains, they would return to the brushing process. With each stroke of the wooden brush, they would pay attention to the gentle rhythm of their movements. They would brush from the top of the toga downwards, allowing the dust to fall away. Little by little, they would visualize the toga becoming more vibrant with each pass, the fabric regaining its luster and softness. Once the brushing was complete, the attendants would fold the togas again with precision. They understood that a well-folded toga would maintain its shape and remain ready for the senator. The folding process involved creating neat rectangles, aligning each edge carefully to prevent creasing. Each fold would be made with intention, and they would often repeat the same folding technique, a method that had been passed down through generations. They would fold the toga in half, then in quarters, and finally, they would roll it softly. A gentle roll would help maintain its form, allowing the toga to be stored compactly in the chests. At this point in their morning routine, the attendants would also consider the etiquette involved in presenting the toga to the senators. They understood the significance of the garment in Roman society. It was not merely clothing. It was a representation of status and dignity. Each toga would be accompanied by a small note, detailing the specific senator it belonged to. These notes would be written in fine ink on light parchment, carefully folded and secured with a thin thread, to ensure that each senator received their correct garment without delay. As the morning progressed, the attendants would engage in quiet conversation amongst themselves, discussing the tasks at hand with gentle voices. They would share stories of past senators, recounting how certain garments had been worn during significant moments in history. Their words would float softly through the air, mingling with the light rustle of the togas as they prepared for the day. The time spent in preparation would not be hurried. Each task, from inspecting to cleaning to folding, was an integral part of the day's rhythm. The attendants would allocate a specific amount of time for each task, often setting a small hourglass on the table to keep track. They would take a moment to breathe deeply, feeling the gentle passage of sand through the hourglass, a reminder of the steady flow of time. After the togas were ready, the attendants would take another moment to reflect. They would gather in a small circle, close their eyes, and breathe in unison. This ritual was a way to center themselves, to ground their thoughts before the senators arrived. They understood the importance of this moment, knowing that calm minds would lead to calm hands, ensuring that every detail was attended to. Now, with the togas prepared and the notes secured, they would check the time, allowing themselves a moment of quiet anticipation. They understood that soon the senators would arrive, and the togas would be worn with pride, draping elegantly over the shoulders of those who shaped the very fabric of Roman governance. As they settled into this final stage of preparation, the attendants would take a moment to appreciate the peaceful order of their workspace. The chests stood neatly arranged, each toga folded and presented with care. The room, filled with the scent of fresh linen and the faint essence of olive oil, felt harmonious. In these moments, the attendants would feel a sense of fulfillment. They were not merely caretakers of fabric. They were custodians of Roman tradition, weaving together the threads of history with each careful move. Little by little, they would allow themselves to drift into a tranquil state of mind, ready to greet the day ahead. And so, the cycle continued, with each day following the last, an endless routine of care, respect, and dedication, all centered around the seemingly mundane task of maintaining the togas that symbolized power. Each toga, a silent testament to the rich tapestry of Roman life, was nurtured with love and attention, reminding all of the simple beauty found in meticulous routines. Hey, hey. As the morning light filtered softly through the windows of the Roman Senate, the attendants would gather the necessary tools for their daily task. They would begin by collecting fine, soft brushes, crafted from the delicate fur of animals, to gently remove any dust that might have settled on the togas overnight. Each brush, with its slender handle, would glide smoothly over the fabric, leaving the togas pristine and ready for the day. We'll see. Next, they would prepare a small basin of warm water, infused with a touch of olive oil and a hint of natural soap, derived from the ashes of crushed plants. This mixture would serve as a gentle cleanser, ensuring that the togas remained in immaculate condition. The attendants would carefully dip a soft cloth into the soothing liquid, wringing it out until it was just damp enough to clean without soaking the fabric. They understood the importance of balance. Too much moisture could risk staining or weakening the weave of the toga, while too little would leave behind marks of neglect. Slowly, they would move the cloth across the surface of the toga, working in circular motions, ensuring that each section received equal attention. Little by little, they would take care to remove any traces of dirt, the cloth absorbing all imperfections with tender precision. After cleansing, the togas would be hung to dry in a shaded area, ensuring that the sunlight would not fade the vibrant hues. Each toga would be draped over a smooth wooden rod, allowing for air circulation while preventing any creases from forming. The attendants would stand back for a moment, allowing themselves to appreciate the sight of the togas fluttering gently in the breeze, like sails on calm waters. While the togas dried, the attendants would turn their attention to the storage chests. These chests, constructed with care from solid wood and lined with fragrant cedar, would ensure that the togas remained fresh and free from pests. Each chest was organized by color and style, with the most formal togas resting at the top, ready to be selected for the day's debates. The attendants would note the importance of etiquette when it came to selecting a toga. It was customary for senators to wear their finest garments during significant proceedings. Thus, each toga was numbered, allowing for easy retrieval and ensuring that no senator would be caught without the appropriate attire. The attendants would read the small labels, written in elegant script, guiding them to the right choices. As soon as the togas were adequately dry, a fresh layer of olive oil would be applied, using a soft circular motion to reintroduce a subtle sheen to the fabric. This step was done with utmost care, as the oil not only enhanced the appearance of the toga, but also protected it from the wear and tear of daily use. The attendants would take a moment to breathe deeply, inhaling the comforting aroma of the olive oil, feeling a sense of calm wash over them. Once the oil was applied, the attendants would carefully fold the togas, ensuring that no creases formed during the process. Each fold was measured with precision, following the ancient methods passed down through generations. The togas would be folded in half lengthwise, and then again, creating a neat rectangle. This attention to detail would prevent any unsightly wrinkles from forming during storage. The folded togas would then be placed back into their respective chests, each chest secured with a delicate latch, ensuring that the togas remained undisturbed until it was their time to shine. As each chest was closed, the attendants would take a moment to appreciate the harmony of their work, a symphony of care, respect, and tradition woven together in the quiet corners of the Senate. Wow. With the togas prepared and neatly stored, the attendants would gather once more, ready to engage in a moment of reflection. They would stand in silence, recalling the significance of their roles. They were not just caretakers, they were essential to the very fabric of Roman governance. The hours would pass slowly, each moment filled with the gentle rustle of fabric and the soft sounds of their brushes gliding over the togas. They would share quiet conversations, discussing the subtle nuances of the different fabrics, the variations in color, and the stories behind each toga. Every toga carried a story, a moment in time, a connection to the past. Each senator would wear their toga differently, yet each would be a symbol of authority and respect. The attendants understood this, and as they moved about their tasks, they would feel a sense of pride in preserving the legacy of their empire. As the sun arched across the sky, the attendants would ensure that the togas remained in pristine condition. They would check the shelves and chests regularly, keeping an eye out for any signs of wear. If a toga showed signs of fading, they would note it carefully in a ledger, marking it for special attention later. This ledger, a simple collection of ink and parchment, recorded the condition of each toga, along with the dates of their last cleaning and oiling. The attendants would write in neat, flowing script, ensuring that their notes would be easy to read. Each entry was a testament to their diligence, a reflection of their dedication to duty. As the day wore on, the attendants would prepare for the final inspection. They would gather all the togas that had been set aside for the day's meetings, ensuring that they were ready for the senators. They would arrange them in order of importance, placing the most formal togas at the top of the pile, creating a display that was both visually pleasing and practical. The soft fabric would shimmer under the gentle illumination of the room, each toga standing as a proud representation of Roman identity. The attendants would take a step back, allowing their eyes to linger on the array before them. Here, in this serene space, the togas awaited their wearers, ready to accompany them into the chambers of debate. And so, as the final moments of preparation unfolded, the attendants would remind themselves of the sacred nature of their work. They were not merely caring for garments. They were caretakers of tradition, protectors of history. Each stroke of the brush, each fold of the fabric echoed through time, connecting them to the very essence of Roman life. Little by little, they would settle into a rhythm, a gentle dance of duty and care, and the world outside would fade away, replaced by the comforting embrace of their solemn task. The togas once again would be readied for the stage of the Senate, awaiting the men who would drape them over their shoulders, each one a bearer of the legacy they had nurtured. EIDA. In our exploration of the Roman Senate Cloak-care standards, we wandered through the gentle intricacies of toga maintenance, discovering the meticulous rituals that dignitaries adhered to, even amidst weighty debates about the empire's fate. We observed how senators, in their flowing garments, took tender care to ensure their togas remained pristine, folding and draping them with precision, always mindful of the impression they left. Little by little, we learned about the tools and techniques used to keep these garments tidy, from specialized brushes to careful washing methods, revealing a world where even the mundane had its significance. As we now settle into the quiet of the evening, imagine a serene room, softly illuminated, where your body sinks into the comfort of your resting space, enveloped in tranquility. Remember to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. And as you drift into sleep, do not forget to turn on loop, allowing these soothing words to cradle you gently into the night.